Good morning, children. It's Mrs. Merkin here. I am going to help you today with your English Day 5. Today we're going to create a text map of the story, The Owl Who's Afraid of the Dark. This will help us to remember the story when we write it. We've done it lots of times, so I am sure that you're going to be brilliant at it. I hope you've all been enjoying the story as well. It's one of my favourites. So the first thing we need to do is listen to the story again. So if you could go back to one of Mrs. Wiley's PowerPoints and listen to her reading the story, just to get it back into your head, what happens in each part and who Plop meets, that would be brilliant. So pause this video now and go back and find Mrs. Wiley's video and listen to the story. Now, I hope you enjoyed the story. We are going to now get ready to draw our text map. So either use the sheet that I provided you, it's got the boxes on already, or you can divide your sheet into 8 boxes like this just by folding. If you find that tricky, get whoever you live with to help you. Okay, we're going to start by drawing our text map. So I know that the first part of the story is where Plop basically is saying to his parents, isn't it? I don't want to be a night bird. Dark is nasty, and he's saying that to his mum and dad. And they're saying, you better find out a bit more about the dark before you make up your mind. So they're trying to keep his mind open to say, no, you won't. Dark isn't nasty. There's some good things about it. So as you can see here, I've drawn a terrible picture of Plop and his parents, and I've written the words dark is nasty so that I can remember. So you can draw your own pictures there. You can add colours if you want to. Let's move on to box 2. So here's box 2. And it says here, if you remember what's happened here, Plop goes back and he talks to his mum and dad about dark being nasty. Then he somersaults down from the tree because he's seen a boy down at the bottom of the tree. And he asks him what he thinks of the dark. And the boy says, dark is exciting. Because basically without the dark you can't see all these beautiful fireworks. Now you can draw much better fireworks than me, and you can even add colours, but I was trying to do this quickly. So as you can see, there's all the fireworks. There's Plop, there's my boy, and he's thinking dark is exciting because of all these fireworks. And then Plop says at the end, I still do not like fireworks. I still do not like fireworks. I still do not like the dark at all. Obviously we all love fireworks. Okay, moving on to box 3. So the next person that Plop meets is the old lady. I don't know whether you remember, she's sitting in her deck chair. So he comes down to have a little chat with her, and he says, you know, what do you think about the dark? And she says that dark is kind. And he says, why is that? And if you remember, the old lady says that she can forget that she's old, and she sits and can remember quietly all the good times that she's had in her life. Plop has a little think about it, and he says, I still don't like it at all. And he flies back and he tells his mummy what he's heard from the old lady. Box 4. Oh my goodness, box 4. So box 4. The next night, he spots from his tree through the leaves another boy sitting on a log who's guarding a campfire there, look. And he comes down and he says, do you like the dark? And the boy says, dark is fun. We're going to make cocoa and sing around this campfire tonight. And he actually asks him if he wants to join him, doesn't he? And Plop does actually stay and join in the fun for a little bit before going back to his parents, his mummy and daddy. But he still says to them that he doesn't like dark at all. Here's box 5. And this is where Plop meets a little girl. And he thinks to himself that he's going to go and ask her what she thinks of the dark. Now, you can draw things better than this, but I don't know whether you remember, but this little girl says that dark is necessary, because without the dark, Father Christmas wouldn't come, because Father Christmas only comes when you're asleep and it's dark. And he sort of thinks about this, and she's a really kind girl, doesn't she? And she gave him a stocking to hang up on Christmas Eve. Okay, but he still says that he still doesn't like dark at all. Then he goes back up to the tree, onto the branch, to go and tell his parents. The next day, box 6, the next day, Plop slept nearly all of the day and only woke up in the evening. I think he's starting to turn into a bit more of a night bird than a day bird. And when he woke, it was nearly dark. Through the leaves, he saw a man with a telescope looking at the stars and the moon. So he goes down and he says, "Do you like the dark?" He asked, and he says, "Dark is wonderful," said the man. And he showed Plop the beautiful night sky through the telescope. And he said, "Just look at it all." And Plop went back up to his mum and still doesn't think that he likes it. Box 7, whether you can remember who he meets this time. It's the Black Cat, isn't it? And he says, he invites him to go and have a look at the surrounding area and goes to go exploring. And the cat, they end up, if you look, on a house on the roof, looking out over to the city at the view. And the cat says, "Dark is beautiful," said the cat. "Look all around you." And they spend some time there looking around. And with this, Plop flies back to his parents in the tree. And then the last box here is where Plop's mind is finally changed by meeting all these people and animals. And he flew back and he said, "I think dark is super." So he's completely changed his mind now from where he was in box 1, where he said dark is nasty. He's not frightened of it anymore. He's had all these people tell him all these lovely things about the dark, and he's now happy and confident back in his tree, and he agrees with them all and says that dark is super, which is lovely. Now, I want you to retell the story orally using your text map to help you. Okay, so you can either go and find your sibling, your sister or your brother, or go and tell it to your dog, or if your mum and daddy aren't working, you can go and talk to them. And I want you to use your text map and talk through the story of the owl who was afraid of the dark. And what would be amazing is if you could make up some actions to go with each box, and this will help you remember the story really well in your head, because on Monday we're going to be writing the first part of our story of the owl who's afraid of the dark. All right, so well done today, everybody. If you want to, you can get mummy or daddy to take a photo of your work, of your text map, and send it in to us, because we would absolutely love to see it. Take care and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.